For over a decade, one man pulled off the most audacious airport theft operation in North America, right under the noses of authorities. From the late 1980s to the early 2000s, Hoa Lam Ong, known as Smiley, masterminded a heist operation at Toronto's Pearson Airport that netted him over $7 million. Despite stringent security measures, including high-stake fences, barbed wire, and video surveillance, entire shipments of high-end goods mysteriously vanished. The man behind these thefts lived an unassuming life by day, but by night, he ran a sophisticated criminal network, exploiting weaknesses in airport security, cultivating relationships, and employing an ingenious system that allowed him to stay under the radar for years. But how did Smiley, a Vietnamese immigrant with just $50 in his pocket, pull off these heists for 13 years without getting caught? Pearson International Airport in Toronto, Canada, is one of the busiest and most secure airports in North America, with 2 large cargo terminals. Every day, millions of dollars worth of goods move in and out of these terminals, secured by a robust force of over 100 police officers and advanced technology. Despite these measures, in the late 1980s, authorities began to notice something unusual. Entire skids of expensive merchandise, from cameras to clothing, were disappearing without a trace. Despite the airport's rigorous security, the thefts continued unabated, leaving the authorities baffled and the police powerless. What started as a few isolated incidents quickly turned into a full-scale investigation. Yet the perpetrators remained elusive. Initial investigations pointed to a sophisticated organized crime ring, but the truth was far more shocking. The mastermind behind these thefts wasn't a large criminal syndicate. It was a single man, Hoa Lam Ong, known to his friends as Smiley. This is the story of how one man robbed airports for 13 years and got away with millions. Hoa Lam Ong, known as Mr. Smiley for his charming demeanor, immigrated from Vietnam to Canada in the late 1980s with just $50 to his name. The Vietnamese immigrant with big dreams quickly integrated into the local Asian community. Known for his charming and easygoing personality, Smiley quickly made friends within the tight-knit Asian community in Toronto, where he earned his nickname due to his infectious smile. Smiley soon met and married Teresa Pang, a fellow Vietnamese immigrant who worked at Golden Jet Freight at Pearson Airport. Hoa moved into Teresa's apartment with her teenage son Benny. Teresa's job involved overseeing the shipping of goods from the airport's cargo facilities, providing her with access to sensitive information about incoming shipments. This connection proved to be the key to Smiley's grand plan. It wasn't long before she found Hoa a job as a truck driver, responsible for picking up goods from Pearson Airport and delivering them all across the city. However, the $1,600 a month salary wasn't enough to satisfy Hoa's ambition for wealth. While delivering goods, Hoa became acutely aware of the value of the items he was transporting. The temptation was too great to resist, and soon he began to hatch a plan. Smiley initially took a modest job that paid him a meager $400 a week, but he quickly realized that if he could gain access to even a fraction of the valuable goods passing through Pearson Airport, he could amass a fortune. The problem was that Smiley's airport pass only granted him limited access to a small section of the warehouse. Smiley began cultivating relationships with the cargo workers at the airport. He identified those who were struggling financially and started offering them small gifts, boxes of frozen lobster, extra cash, until they were willing to look the other way or even help him smuggle goods out of the warehouse. Smiley was meticulous in his approach, spending months studying the cargo operations, learning the schedules of workers, and understanding the flow of goods. One day, Hoa made his first move. Approaching a warehouse worker who was loading his truck, He offered the man $2,000 to throw an extra skid of goods onto his truck, no questions asked. The worker, enticed by the sum of money and confident that the theft would go unnoticed, agreed. The stolen skid turned out to be worth $100,000 in electronics. Hoa quickly found buyers in the local market and sold the goods at a lower price, ensuring a quick sale and a tidy profit. Smiley's charm and strategic thinking allowed him to build a small network of accomplices within the airport. He would show up for legitimate pickups, loading his truck with authorized goods, and then quietly arrange for additional unauthorized cargo to be loaded by his inside men. Initially, Smiley had to search for buyers, selling the stolen goods through friends and local fences, but his operation soon began to grow. As the volume of stolen merchandise increased, Smiley's ability to move the goods efficiently became a challenge. Some products, like electronics, were easy to offload, but others, like clothing, were more difficult to sell in large quantities. This is where Teresa's role became crucial. With her insider knowledge, she provided Smiley with detailed information about high-value shipments, allowing him to target the most profitable goods and coordinate with his team to ensure smooth operation. Using the information provided by Teresa, Hoa meticulously planned each theft. He knew the value, destination, and timing of each shipment, allowing him to pre-sell the goods before they were even stolen. This newfound organization transformed his operation from small-time thefts into a highly efficient criminal enterprise. With a steady flow of stolen goods, Smiley began investing his profits into expanding his network. He drew in more accomplices, offering them a share of the spoils in exchange for their loyalty. Hoa's stepson, Benny, became a key player in the operation. Benny took charge of distributing electronics and computer accessories, using his charm and business sense to establish relationships with computer store owners. Under the alias Joe Yang, Benny presented himself as a legitimate business owner, further obscuring the origins of the goods he was selling. As the volume of stolen goods increased, Hoa faced new challenges, particularly with storage and distribution. The sheer quantity of stolen items was overwhelming, and finding a secure place to store them was crucial. Renting public storage was too risky, so Hoa purchased 2 suburban homes worth $500,000, which he used as warehouses for the stolen merchandise. These properties not only provided secure storage, but also served as a means of laundering money through real estate investments. As Smiley's operation expanded, it inevitably attracted the attention of organized crime groups. These gangs demanded a cut of the profits in exchange for allowing Smiley to continue his activities without interference. Recognizing the danger, Smiley agreed to pay off these groups, ensuring that his operation could continue unimpeded. But despite the added pressure, Smiley's network continued to thrive. His accomplices kept him informed of the most desirable shipments, and Smiley paid up to $10,000 for a single skid of merchandise. The operation grew like a snowball, rolling downhill and gaining momentum with each successful heist. By the late 1990s, the internet was beginning to revolutionize the way people bought and sold goods. Hoa quickly recognized the potential of online marketplaces like eBay to expand his empire. eBay allowed users to sell products anonymously, with no need for valid identification or bank accounts. For Hoa, this was the perfect solution to his supply and demand problem. Hoa and his family began selling stolen goods on eBay, reaching customers not just in Canada, but around the world. The low prices he offered made his products highly sought after, and the sales flooded in. The Smileys, as they became known, shipped thousands of packages from their home, making millions in the process. To maintain his cover, Smiley continued to lead a modest life. He dressed inconspicuously and drove unremarkable cars, never flaunting his wealth. However, he indulged in one luxury: visiting casinos. Smiley used these trips to launder his cash, converting stolen money into clean currency through gambling. Despite the massive scale of his thefts, Hoa managed to stay one step ahead of the authorities. The police were stymied by the sheer size of the airport and the lack of an effective inventory system. By the time missing goods were reported, it was often too late to track them down. Hoa's relationship with the warehouse workers ensured that no one would talk, and his pleasant demeanor made him seem above suspicion. Even as the police intensified their investigation, going undercover and scrutinizing every lead, they were unable to identify the mastermind behind the thefts. Hoa's operation continued to thrive, growing larger and more profitable with each passing year. After years of eluding the authorities, his luck had finally run out. In the end, it wasn't police work or the intervention of organized crime that brought Ong down, but a random event. A break-in at one of his suburban storage houses led to the discovery of the massive quantities of stolen goods he had been hoarding. This, combined with the mounting suspicions and ongoing investigations by law enforcement, eventually led to Ong's arrest. 48-year-old Hoa Lam Ong has pleaded guilty to charges of possession of stolen goods and conspiracy. He was sentenced to 2 years in prison. The police investigation that began in 1997 ended in 2004. Among the items seized by the police and formally surrendered to the Attorney General through a court order issued on January 30th were $1.2 million in Canadian currency, $16,000 in U.S. funds, a $600,000 house in North York, and $750,000 worth of stolen merchandise that couldn't be traced back to its owners. For 13 years, Hoa Lam Ong orchestrated one of the most successful and long-lasting theft rings in Canadian history, stealing over $7 million in goods from Pearson International Airport. His success was built on a combination of charm, meticulous planning, and an uncanny ability to exploit the weaknesses in the airport's security system. In the end, it wasn't a team of hardened criminals or a sophisticated heist crew that pulled off these thefts, but a single truck driver with a smile that hid a mind as sharp as a blade. His story serves as a reminder that sometimes the most audacious crimes are committed not by those with the most power, but by those who are underestimated and overlooked. Hoa Lam Ong, the man who robbed airports for 13 years and got away with millions, is a prime example of how a seemingly ordinary life can hide an extraordinary tale of crime and cunning. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to Breakout Bank for more videos.